All right, good evening, everyone. The time is 6:32, February 27th, 2024, Abington Conservation Commission meeting. First item on the agenda is request for permit extension SE 084-518. So this is another property like we've had over the past year where I think last year, I don't know when we did it, we issued a 1-year extension, and now they're looking for another extension for 3 years, right?
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a roadway, and I'm sure
Yep.
you're familiar. I was here for the individual lots.
You want to just
Yeah, sure.
get up here, just name and address?
Jason Kennedy, manager of Robert English LLC, 2 Columbia Road in Pembroke. We have the road in. We have lots being developed. You guys recently approved the NOIs.
Three
for
of
the
them, right?
individual lots. Yep, for
Yeah.
3 of the lots. And it's going to take us over a year to do the houses, and then we need to complete the roadway. So at least a 2-year extension would be good. 3 years is typical. But last year was 1 year. I think it's because the project had not started. But it's underway, and I think everything's been going well. So
This doesn't include the first lot, right, with the
McHugh
detention?
Circle?
Yeah,
That's not part of the subdivision, but I do own that now.
you do own that one?
Yes, we will be coming for an NOI
Okay.
for that, but
But
Is
that's
that the
not
one-
what this is for.
Is that the one that had a superseding order on it, or is that a different one? I
It's the
know.
one with the detention pond on it?
yes, that's right. Yes, it
Okay.
did. That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and someone else had already done some work there before I was involved.
All right.
So, but that's not, the 4 lots on Robert English are separate from
Yep.
McHugh Circle.
Okay.
And that one, so some work was done.
Under the superseding order of conditions.
That's got
Right.
nothing to do with this, though.
No, I'm just curious about, because we're talking about it, if they sold it to you, or.
It's got nothing to do with the extension.
Right.
I'm just asking.
Anybody have any questions?
No. It is 3 lots or 4
There's
lots?
4 lots.
4 lots.
And I know it sounds like you're new to the board, but I was in, about 4 to 5 weeks ago for 3 of the lots with the NOI, which were approved. So the 4th lot doesn't require any. We're out of the wetland jurisdictions.
So you actually need 2-year extension, but you'd like a 3?
Yeah.
Well, we've been doing 3 for everybody, just,
We just did a year on the last guy, LaPointe, so.
no, we did a 3.
Did we do a 3? Okay.
Yeah, I'd have no problem with 3. It's gonna take them, like you said, 2 years between the road and building the houses and selling them.
Most towns it's a 3-year
Yeah.
extension. But
I'd make a motion for a 3-year extension.
We have a second? I'll second. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
thank you.
Thank you.
Forward. Have a good night.
You're under the gun, right? So we gotta get you the paperwork, I think.
It's very tight.
Yeah.
I actually thought the meeting was last week, and I came
Well,
out
I
Tuesday
mean-
and walked around. I was like, oh, what's going on
Yeah, we'll
here?
sign it for the meeting.
So yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, that
And you're
takes-
gonna be coming back with another notice for 10, you said, right? For
At
the
some
other-
point, yeah. I'm focused on the other lots currently, but that is in the process, so yes.
Just curious, was the road completed, or was that part of the deal that you have to complete the road in McHugh Circle?
The only remaining work is the top coat on that road, which the planning board gave a waiver to do once we do our top coat, so it could all be continuous.
Okay,
But I am not responsible for that top coat, that's the previous developer.
yeah,
But we'll be working together to get that done, so it's a nice finished surface.
I see, okay. I know it had nothing to do with this, but I was just curious.
Thank you.
All right, have a good night.
Have a good night.
We'll sign that after, at the end of the meeting, and be all set.
I'll get it tomorrow.
All right, next up, request for determination of applicability located at 106 Lincoln Street.
I'll sit down if that's okay.
Yeah, just,
That's fine.
name and address,
Absolutely.
please.
You want my address or the project address?
Yours.
Okay. My name is Sam Kish with WIT Contracting. Address is 337 Pine Street, Weymouth, Mass. We're looking for an RDA for 106 Lincoln Street. Looking at an addition off the back of the property.
This is the one that's gonna be up on pilings?
Yes.
Oh, was it I did the 326, on street.
Where's the delineation? Because I was looking on this at Mass Mapper.
Yeah.
Where is the line?
Right here.
And how
We got the
far-
chain link fence right here.
I've got a full size copy
Oh,
of
yeah.
that if you want to not
Oh, that's
squint
much
at it.
better.
Yeah. So, the original house is here, so from here to the floodplain
Floodplain, yeah.
is,
BBW line is right there.
right, right.
So how far is that? 41?
So it's 41 to the lot line, and then the wetlands district is then
So, my question
somewhere in
is,
the ballpark of 15, between 10 and 15.
Yeah.
okay, looking on Mass Mapper though, it doesn't show, and I know Mass Mapper is just a guide that physically you need to go out there and look at it, but that BVW line varies a lot from what Mass Mapper says when you go in to look up that address as far
Okay.
as the wetlands and the, based on what I see
Sure,
here.
okay. The survey, so the wetlands delineation was by Pine Brooks Consulting, and then Carl Garvey did the rest of the survey plan. That's on.
So Pine Brook Consulting is at Brook Monroe? And when was that done?
August 29,
Yeah.
2023.
Um, yeah, because I did look this up on Mass Mapper. I can't find my printout because I
I
normally
looked it up right before.
and
I
it
got here,
doesn't.
too.
It doesn't seem to do that. It seems to come more this way. I mean, I don't know if you saw it, so
I did.
I can
It's
pull it up on
more-
my phone.
a little bit more in there. I mean, just in general, they've been saying we need to always review wetland delineations. So that's one thing, and I'm noticing it's within the 50-foot no build that we have. Is that right? It's 41 feet away from.
Well, that's to the lot line. It's actually 39, 38 feet.
So we, so
it's-
39, oh, to the line.
So it's even closer then. Is that right?
Yeah.
To the BBW?
Oh, twice. No, about 38 feet. $35 probably is the closest point.
We do have regulations that say there's a 50-foot no disturb and there's a 35-foot.
No, other way around.
I'm sorry, 35. Sorry, I always get those. I'm dyslexic sometimes. That's my concern. And also the delineation of the BBW. I'm sorry, looking at Mass Mapper again, and I know it's a guide. It's totally different from what I'm seeing on your drawing.
Okay.
So that's a question for me.
So, so is that something, just so I'm
So
understanding.
what, I guess basically what I'm saying is that the BBW, looking at Mass Mapper, comes more, probably right up to the chain link fence,
Okay,
the line of the BBW. So
Okay.
we're not even talking about the buffer.
Builds.
sure,
So that's my concern.
okay. What would you,
Did she provide, I mean, I have not seen her delineation. I mean, did she provide soil samples and the readings from the Munsell charts and what she,
I don't know. So I had contracted Carl Garvey to do the site survey
Okay.
with the delineations.
right,
So he what you guys have in front of you is what was given to me from
Yeah.
him. So if there's any, I mean, I had an envelope, that's what came in it, that's
Yeah.
all that I have from
Okay.
him. So if I need to go back to him, if that's the question, if there's more information that you guys need.
Well, yeah, basically, when you do a delineation of a wetland line, there's three criteria that you look at. You look at the soil, you look at the vegetation, and you look at, what's the third one?
Other indicators of hydrology.
Other indicators of hydrology,
Sure, yeah.
meaning streams or whatever. And
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a floodplain, and if I look at the original floodplain map that Lachey's aunt drew up, the floodplain comes a little further up too. So I've got some questions as far as the delineation goes.
Okay.
So explain to me the no-build zone, what's the bylaw?
It's not a bylaw, it's a regulation that was adopted last year, and Lynn was very nice to write it up, so I'll let her do the explanation.
So we went through all 200 and I don't know how many, 70 municipalities in Massachusetts that have regulations.
Yep.
And looked at all the no build and no disturb. And so we came up with a no disturb buffer of 25 feet for a residential property where there's nothing that's going to be, no work would be done in that area.
From the flagging.
Right. The other day I mentioned that you couldn't even walk on it, which is not technically
That's
true.
right,
It
yeah.
was,
Right.
that's the correction, but you can't like decide I'm gonna build. The no build is you can do some construction work from that 25 to the 50 feet, but nothing can actually be built
Right,
there.
but you could use that area.
Yeah, as a
to
staging
work.
area
Right.
or what have you. But that's a regulation that we voted on in March of last year. And everybody's actually been pretty good about sticking with that
Okay.
in all the
I just wanted to
things we've
understand.
seen.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think I have a copy of it. in my
So that's, I agree with Jean about the wetland line. I'd love to see that information that
Okay.
they're supposed to provide. That's part of our process is
Sure.
to get, DEP has a form that they're supposed to fill out.
Yep.
And it has the soil, the hydrology, all of that stuff. So
Okay.
I'd like to see that from them. We should have someone go out and check, number 2. And then number 3, it is within, based on this, it's within the 50-foot no build.
Okay. So just as I'm going back to the homeowners here, then, so pending verification of our BVW line, if we determine that it's that correct, then that doesn't move at all, and that's good where it is. As it sits, even with this being on piers, that addition can't go back into that space. Is that correct? And I know the piers are kind of a funny, and this is generally whenever we're getting even remotely close to wetlands, we move to piers so that we're not, so you don't have the disturbance.
Yeah,
And so the structure itself, so the only disturbance to the ground is the piers and
Right.
the posts
What do
would
you
come up.
use them for? Use?
It'll be port footings. Sonotube.
so the equipment that comes in there to do the excavation for the piers, I mean, you're gonna be in the,
Well, everything's gonna be in the buffer zone.
yeah, no, I know that, I'm just thinking
I
of
mean,
the
well, we can
disturbed.
do it by hand. Is the
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the machinery can be me and a shovel.
That's a lot of digging.
Well, it is,
I've
but
seen it done.
I
mean,
have to, believe me, I know my husband used to build too, so.
but I mean, at most there would be an auger in there, so there's no heavy machinery that goes back into the space at all. And we had a similar addition we did in Weymouth where we built everything in front of the house. So everything was assembled out front, everything was cut in front of the house, so we were away from the wetlands entirely. All of the construction happened another 150 feet away from the wetlands. So I don't know if that impacts it because of the structure itself is, I'm going to say suspended. It's not suspended, but it is floating over the
It's
space.
elevated.
It's elevated, right? There's no foundation. There's no structure going all the way back.
So, as someone who has part of their house elevated
Mm-hmm.
on stilts or whatever, that's definitely space that somebody would say, oh, I'd like to put things there. Like I'd like to store whatever.
Sure.
Which is what I do.
Yeah.
Because I have a small house and
But you're not in the wetlands.
I'm not in New England.
Right.
Nope, I'm far away. But I'm just thinking that even though we're saying it's going to be on stilts,
Sure.
you can imagine a homeowner is going to go, oh, I want to put my generator,
Right.
or store this or store that. So technically, that space would actually be.
Then it becomes occupied.
It would be.
Yeah, we can make a
occupied.
condition. We can make a condition, you know, if,
To keep it open and.
Yeah. Like, I mean,
My
we-
addition is on Highlands also, but I'm not nowhere near the wetlands.
Yeah.
We enclose it in and use it for storage.
Right.
But we could say this has to stay open.
I mean, is it going to have any? What is right there right now?
so I'm trying to.
Lawn?
In the space, it's
Lawn.
just yard. I'm trying to remember.
Well,
In my head,
The
it's been a
patio
while.
there looks like,
was there a patio?
looks like some hardscape or something.
I think it's just stone.
Okay.
It's not a technical
grass.
patio. No, it's just gravel. I think
Yeah.
it's been a while. I've looked
Oh,
at too
are
many
you in
houses.
Mass Mapper?
No, I'm not in Mass Map, right? For some reason I can't get it on this phone, but. Fence is in the way, but yeah, it's definitely not grass, it's probably stone, like you're saying.
I just, if we say yes to the addition and we say you can't put anything under it, I just want to make certain that whatever there doesn't currently have any wildlife habitat value to it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely there's definitely nothing back there that's anything remotely close to wetland space. I believe, and like I said, I can certainly confirm it, but I'm 90% sure it is just it's all just gravel on the ground. So I don't know if that was placed there for drainage at some point or what it was. But then everything else up to the chain link fence is just lawn. There's no
Yep.
there's no other growth.
So I think what we should do is probably get the information from Pine Brook,
I think we should continue
and
to,
then, and then if we wanna do a site walk, just
Yep.
to see what impact, if any, there will be.
Yep.
By letting them build that with the piers there, and then, like I said, if we issue a negative determination, we can always condition it that no heavy equipment goes back there. I mean, they probably don't want it anyways, because it's gonna tear up their lawn to get back there anyways. And same thing, no storage underneath the new structure, if it's within the buffer zone, which
and I think
is
when we
20
go out
feet, so
there,
Oh,
it's all gonna be within the buffer zone.
do you have your 50-foot tape measure for us?
I don't need it. It's all, I mean, the house
I know, but you were supposed to
That's
gift
wait,
us.
200
You were supposed to gift us one, and you never
is,
did.
I don't think they make a 250-foot tape measure, so I didn't say that.
You did.
200-foot maybe.
All right.
But no, I mean, the fence,
Yeah.
it's, everything's gonna be in the buffer zone.
And I understand that, but again, my biggest concern was the BBW line that's on this drawing that we had didn't even look anything near what I saw on Mass Mapper, and as well as the floodplain based on the map that Liz Shay's aunt drew up. It was closer to the house.
Closer to the house. Okay.
So, those are my concerns as far as from a, conservation.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So, I would make a motion to continue this until we receive the information
Oh,
from,
not there yet.
oh, sorry.
First, I wanna see when our next meeting is.
March 12th.
Okay. Anybody else in the board have any questions?
Well, if we can get the information from Pine Brook, then we can go take a look at it before March 12th.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yep. I'll give Garvey a call tomorrow and see.
Yeah, and then Tony can reach out to set up the site walk.
Mm-hmm.
We get more sunlight, we can go out later,
Oh, yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
5 o'clock.
All right,
Still
I'll open
light.
up to the public. Anybody have any questions? All right, bring it back to the board. Any more discussion? Or somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to continue the RDA for 106 Lincoln Street until our next meeting, pending that we can get the information from Pine Brook And set up a site visit?
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank
I'll
you
get that
so
over to
much.
you.
All right, next up, request.
That's fine. Thanks.
Could we actually get some copies of that size?
Oh, that size? Yeah. I
Yes.
can get
Yeah,
that.
that'd be
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
Thank you so
He only
much.
sent me one.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Pay enough. Thanks, guys.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
All right, next up, request for determination of applicability located at 78 Ekstrom Circle. Did I say that right?
Yep.
All right, this is for a vertical addition.
Oh,
I have,
you have it? You want to share?
yes, please.
Okay. Right here. Not looking. You're going vertical.
So this, the delineation was done, not even a month ago. It was out of our,
Delineations aren't done during the winter.
that's why I said that. But again, they're not extending the footprint closer to the wetlands. They're building the house vertically.
Okay.
So adding a story.
Yeah,
Going up.
Is anybody here from?
Extra?
I don't think so. I thought Ken was gonna be here.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I
And
see.
Thompson did, oh, all right. Oh, that's gonna be pretty, huh? Oh,
So
you want
my-
to share? You can slide
Oh,
this
no,
way too.
I have.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I have it right.
Okay.
Thank you.
My only thing would be probably, I'm sure there's gonna be equipment or materials, so I would recommend putting, either orange snow fence, silt fence that's not towed in, just something as a barrier so that no construction
Debris.
material debris gets close to the wetlands.
And that it's cleaned up daily so there's nothing that can fly or flow into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely have to be some sort of proactive defense.
What do we want to say? You want to have them put it at the 35-foot no disturb?
Yeah. The fence or whatever
Yeah.
they end up using.
Yeah, just some sort of barrier. All that's about it.
That's fine. 35 feet.
Anybody else have any suggestions or comments?
Just that it's cleaned up daily so there's no debris left flying around. Where's the staging area and everything gonna be for this? Do we know?
You could just ask them to do it in the front.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
plenty of room in the front.
there is.
There's the buffer.
Yeah.
Okay, that's their backyard.
Yeah.
They have 65 feet in their front. Oh,
Yeah.
no. 131 if they use the side.
Yeah.
They could use this as the staging area.
Yeah, they have the driveway they can use and everything.
Sure.
Staging.
And all the heavy equipment will be in the front. If they need like a lift or something,
Trying to think, are they doing,
I don't know.
are they building or is it prefab? I didn't even see.
I just see the floor.
It just shows a floor plan.
Plan, what it's gonna look like out
Yeah.
front.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. We'd say no heavy equipment within the buffer.
Yep. I mean, because if they bring in trusses and stuff, you're gonna have a crane.
Material storage, front or in driveway.
Mm-hmm. And what did you say for erosion controls and stuff, or?
We'll just have a barrier at the, in 35-foot, no disturb. They can pick whatever it is. You know, it's not even an erosion control, it's just
Yeah,
to prevent anything from
right.
getting to it. Anybody else on the board have anything? We're open it to the public. Anybody in the audience? All right, bring it back to the board. There's no more further discussion. Would somebody like to make a motion?
Okay, well,
Now, Josh, pay attention for these are
These are tough.
these are backwards.
Yeah,
Okay.
so a negative is good.
Yeah, I was reading
Yeah.
that. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion for a negative determination of 78 Exton Circle with the conditions discussed.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Yay.
It seems counterintuitive that you're like, I'm
It does,
approving
makes sense.
it, but I
Yeah, it
say
does.
negative.
Yeah.
It's actually 5 till.
All right.
In perfect timing.
And I'm going
Might
to
take it
recuse
back.
myself for the next one. I'll be right back.
All right. Next up on the agenda, we have SEO 84510, request for certificate of compliance, located at 1400 Bedford Street. And that is being continued to another time. So I guess we'll just go ahead and vote on a continuance for March 14th or the 12th?
12th.
The 12th. Okay.
I'll make a motion to continue SE 084-510 until our next meeting on March 12th.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, unanimous. All right, we're good.
Time. All right, next up, notice of intent located at 1065 Bedford Street. Do we have a SE number for this? Oh, so we can vote on this thing.
You didn't get an SE number already, did you? I didn't get one.
Pardon?
You didn't get an SE number yet?
Your DEP number?
DEP number?
No, I didn't get a phone number.
Alright, I didn't think so.
I checked this morning, but not this afternoon.
I checked this afternoon, I didn't see anything.
Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. My name is Paul Marabito from Rouse Engineering Company, and with me in the front row is the applicant, Stephen Goslin. Stephen owns a single-family home at 1065 Bedford Street, which is also known as Route 18. There's a wetland to the rear of the property that was flagged by Brad Holmes of ECR. That's shown on the pink line. The 35-foot buffer zone is shown here in orange. The 50-foot buffer zone is this black line. And the 100-foot buffer zone is the green line. The proposed work is within the 100-foot buffer zone from the wetland, the rear of the property. There's also an existing drain easement. There's a pipe coming from Route 18 that takes the runoff from the street, the road, and it outlets the head wall here, and it flows directly into the wetland behind the property. The rear of the property has a edge of clearing here, and this is all lawn in here. The green represents the vegetation on the lot. There's a driveway on the right-hand side of the house for access to the house in the front. There's also a patio to the rear. There's some steps in this area and a small retaining wall. The proposal is to construct a garage here for residential purposes. It's about 858 square feet. That would be placed within the 100-foot buffer zone which is the green line. There'd also be some paving around the garage as well, which is the outline of the purple. What we're proposing to do is along the edge of the pavement, there's a sand filtration trench that would collect the runoff from the pavement, the roof area, and it would be recharged into the ground. We're proposing a small retaining wall in this area, about 18 inches high, to make sure that the water doesn't flow onto the abutting property. There's a small patio to the rear of the building. There's some steps here which are going to be removed as well. By putting that filtration trench in, the runoff would be collected along the edge of the pavement and be recharged into the ground. We show a proposed silt sock on the property that will go around the work area. There are only 2 trees on the lot. There's one here and one in this location. This site has been marked out in the field as required in the rules and regulations. The edge of the work, the edge of the clearing, the corners of the building, and the wetland flags are in place as well. We don't believe that, with the site the way it's being designed and developed, and it's set back from the wetland, we don't see any potential for the wetlands to receive any adverse impact from the proposed development. We also show a detail on the plan for that sand filter trench that's going to run along the edge of the pavement area. And we have some notes on that are required in the rules and regs as well. So the proposed building would be 65.5 feet from this wetland flag, and from this flag here, the closest part of the building would be 56.5 feet. So the building's outside the 50-foot buffer zone. I think with that, I'll end and answer any questions you may have.
Actually, had a question, or was more of a comment about the proposed work schedule. Seeing that the sand filter trench being 7 of 8 in the work schedule, considering that that is going to be critical for dealing with runoff and other issues from construction, it would make sense to move that up in the work schedule to ensure that that's in place before foundation backfilling and larger machinery is on site. I know that it does say install the silt sock first, but it would provide additional protections if that was installed before foundation work is completed for the new garage. Sure.
I don't think that's possible until after the foundation's set. According to construction schedule, you'd just be disturbing and ruining it. That's a process. You set the foundation, then that's the final grade when you establish that.
So where in this work schedule is the hardscape, and what step is that hardscape installed?
The blacktop?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right here.
No,
Yeah,
I see
but
the outline of
it's-
the in what order, as if I don't see that on here.
This is the limit of the work line,
Mm-hmm.
and the sand filter trench is going to be right on the edge of the pavement. It's that short dashed line.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2 feet wide, so it'd go like this.
Right.
So
And then everything in the rear yard will stay as is.
Right.
That's primarily lawn, some heavier vegetation in this area here. This is the limit of the clearing line,
Mm-hmm.
and then the rest of it's lawn, which will stay in place.
I guess I see your point and what you're trying to say, and that's my kind of concern too. The sand filter
The trench,
trench that you're going to be putting in for this proposed detached garage, my concern is stuff filtering through this sand trench. What's going to capture debris like oil and gas and stuff from the equipment going in and out of there? Is that the purpose for the sand filter trench?
Well, I think that's for
No,
the
the
long
purpose of that
term.
is to infiltrate any water coming off the roof area and the pavement.
Okay, oh, for,
You know,
it's
let
for
it
the
go through.
runoff from the roof, okay, all right.
Right now, it's all lawn.
It's all lawn right now.
Paul, what I was thinking, I know your question, but this construction schedule is you go in, you set the foundation, set the foundation,
Mhm.
I get, prepare the driveway, find out, sand filter before we start construction.
You can make it all
done. Construction goes fairly
Sure.
quick.
No.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you want it from me?
So in the proposed work schedule, the foundation and backfill, and then the sand filter. I'm assuming that the sand filter and the hardscape will be installed at the same time.
That's.
That makes sense, yeah,
Yes.
you're gonna do the erosion control, sock, whatever, that's gonna prevent everything from, that'll protect the wetlands until, because you're not really changing any grades over there, right?
Lawn buffer
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
So,
I just have a quick question. So you've got this garage, and then in purple you've got parts like pavement.
It's just the garage
So-
and the pavement.
Right. So some of that is in the 50-foot no build.
This is the 50-foot buffer zone.
Yep.
The garage is between 50 and the 100-foot buffer zone. That green line's the 100-foot buffer zone. This is the 50-foot buffer zone. So
Right. So, but you're still building within
the 100
the
feet.
no build,
No, within the 50 feet.
within the 50 feet.
The 35-foot no build is this
No,
line.
that's
No,
a
no, no.
no disturb, that means
This
no,
one here.
no,
No,
Yeah, we aren't doing any work within 35 feet.
Right. But so there's a couple things. There's the no disturb, which
Right.
means you're not gonna.
Which is this line here.
Yep.
right,
When you're constructing stuff, you won't put anything there.
Mhm.
But then on top of that, there's a no build. And no build means you could go ahead and you could do staging in there, whatever. But after you're done, there's no building there.
Mhm.
There's no hardscape. There's no construction. There's nothing.
no
So-
blacktop.
No blacktop.
it's gotta be
So-
restored to the condition it was before construction began.
Right.
Yeah. So that's I'm just kind of curious and looking at, we have the driveway here. So if you're like
It's right
driving
here.
in, you go this way and then you're
Yeah.
heading
It's gonna
into
come in and go in.
there. So
That's
right
fine.
to the, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
outside of it.
Yeah.
But what's this other stuff right there?
This is some extra
Parking.
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 It's just parking. And
What?
that's some area for them to back out and go back out.
Yeah, if they have a door.
There's 2 spaces here and 3 here.
And that's right on the 50. Is that the 50? This line?
The black.
Yeah, the black
This
line.
line right here.
Yeah. So from here to here is the issue. But that's where the sand filter is. And so you can't blacktop over that, but
Sand filter's actually right here.
yeah.
Yeah, the sand filter
I
is
was
gonna be right
looking, yeah,
along
so I was just looking,
the
yeah.
downhill side of the pavement.
So that's the problem I have with that is that you've got a lot of hardscape within a no build. You have the garage.
What are you calling a no build?
The
50
50
feet.
feet, between the
50
50 and 35.
So that black line,
Yeah, this is
Along-
the 50.
Yeah,
Yep.
Would be this area here.
no
Yeah.
build means nothing's supposed to be there.
no
Well,
black,
well.
When you finish, when you're done.
It's supposed to look the same when you finish as when you started.
right. So you're losing a few parking spaces.
Yeah.
And that's a regulation that's been in effect for a year. It's gonna be a year.
And the purpose of that trench is to offer some mitigation for the paved area and the water from the roof runoff, which is clean water. So it'll infiltrate into the ground before it reaches the rear portion of the lot and then into the wetland. There's also a pipe here that takes all the runoff from the street that's untreated, the sand and salt. And there's a pipe here, you can see the water coming right into the wetland, with no treatment. But the reason we provide the treatment is so we don't have any negative impact on the wetland area, the BVW.
Well, I understand that, but there's a regulation that says you cannot build between that 35 and 50 foot zone
And why is that?
to protect the buffer zone.
That is based on best science practices.
But also, when we do a site design, what we do is, we make sure the work we do isn't gonna have a adverse impact on the wetland. And even though some of it is inside the 50-foot buffer, that won't have a negative impact on the wetland. They'll still continue to thrive.
It's still a regulation that we have accepted and we voted on for the town.
Pardon?
It's a regulation that was voted on and accepted by the,
I understand that, yeah.
and as it is, there's a 100-foot buffer, and we're just saying at the 50-foot is where there's no disturb. And then there's the 35 no build. I mean, no disturb, sorry. I always get it backwards.
I know.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I always say it backwards.
Is there a provision for asking for a variance to do work in the 50-foot buffer? And if there is, is there, have you ever had a request for one?
No,
We've never had a request for one, no.
no one's ever made that request.
And it's it's only been a regulation for
It's gonna be a year.
about a year, maybe a little bit more. But it's something a lot of towns do because DEP gives you, is it the home rule?
Yep,
That a lot of towns are doing is.
and a lot of towns are stricter than what we have.
Yes.
We went with what,
No, I think 50 is probably like a good, in
Yeah.
towns I've worked in, 50's,
yeah, but there were some that, I mean, Halifax, I believe, is a little bit stricter than what we have, so.
There's a lot of towns that are
Well,
stricter than us.
So,
and you gotta get up, the table, state your name and,
Can I just point out that the way that, that 35 is kind of a funky little line there, it's only like a very small little bead in it, determines that.
can you come over, I can't see what you're talking about.
Sure, I just want to point out the wetland line, that little funky line here, that's that whole, I kind of disagree with a little bit, but it's such a minor piece, it's just a little triangle. Other than that, that line's really good. And that's basing that 35 off of it. You can see the way that just kicks out and it goes the other way, it's just a very,
But it's still within,
unless I can.
yeah, I mean, the
unless I
thing
can
is,
fill
just
it and
because you
replicate
have
it.
your property line by a wetland doesn't mean that there's no impact off your property line, right? So that's what we're considering is the overall thing of what we're doing here. So,
I just want to bring it, I just want to point that out.
some of the local bylaws that we deal with in other towns, they say no building in the 50-foot buffer zone. But they also say that the reason for that is they presume that the 50-foot buffer zone in its current state is already vegetated, and that's what's providing the protection to the wetland area. The vegetation we have here is lawn, there's only 2 trees. If we were to plant some native plants in this open area to serve as additional mitigation, would the commission consider that for allowing the project to go forth as shown on the plan? What I'm talking about is this area in here. Steve's wife is a landscape architect, and we could provide a plan for some additional plantings in there. Do you have a problem with that, Steve?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think the issue is
From the lawn area?
the issue is the hardscape in the buffer zone, or in that 35 to 50 foot zone, right? So everything outside of that can be built, but everything within that cannot. That's not to say you couldn't park a car there. Maybe I'm overstepping here, but if it's restored to how it was prior and is not
This
paved,
line here.
then it's not
This would go.
If
an
it's,
issue.
The
Yeah.
problem
Is
is
that
the
correct?
paving within the 35 to
Right.
50.
a gravel would be better, but gravel can be
This-
compacted, but no, it can't, so you can't.
This is the
Yeah,
35-foot line?
yeah,
This is 50.
yeah,
So everything within those 2 lines is
Yeah.
what's at issue right now.
right.
So if that was not paved, I don't think it would be a lot easier to look at it and not have concerns about impacts on that zone that's been established.
What is the garage gonna be used for?
Just storage, it just adds value to the property, you know, I intend on selling it in a few years. And it's just tough with the, this housing and parking on the street side, it just makes the property more usable.
So where's the overhead door? Which side's that gonna be on?
It's on the side there. And I did have an access door in the back, yeah, just open up, but,
Have you gone to zoning about this? Because I noticed in the thing that you said it wasn't not necessary.
it conforms to the zoning with a detached accessory building, yes.
Okay.
So as long as I don't pave that, you could put down the,
Is that,
as long as we don't pave that, you could park on it technically.
I mean, you're getting rid of vegetation to do
To me,
that.
I mean,
Like I said, it's that line
Um,
there. I mean, I could fill
what
it.
are your thoughts on adding some wetland replication in lieu of giving up some buffer? I mean,
And can that be done off-site in another location?
I prefer not to.
it's. Yeah, I mean, you can speak to it, but it can, but
We don't like it.
Yeah, because
We
it's
don't
very,
like replication anyway, but.
well, yeah, because
but
it's very
gonna be
hard to
similar-
replicate,
it's gonna
find
be
something.
similar to that.
Exactly. And it's very hard to say where you're gonna replicate is exactly what you have here. It's gonna, for the other site, that's why we're not really fond of them, but,
yeah, what we do is to submit you a planting plan from our botanist. He needs you
who did your
here.
delineation? Who did the delineation here?
Brad
Brad
Holmes
Holmes.
from ECR.
Oh, I know Brad Holmes.
Over here. You could do a planting plan for the work in this area here, you know, from this line back. You know, you could do it in this area here. But what we do is to put a schedule up on this plan with the list of the plants and we show the location down in this area where they'd all go.
So if you do the replication, you know that you're gonna have to hire a wetland botanist or scientist for 2 years.
To monitor.
Yes.
To
for the
do
plants that go-
monitoring.
Yeah, that's standard,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So you have to think about, are you willing to pay for that?
I don't think so. At this point, Paul, you know what, I'd say eliminate that parking and let's just take it from there.
That would be the
I'm
easiest.
not gonna go through all that furnace thing, so it's
Yeah.
crazy, it's ridiculous. So I'd just say eliminate it, conform, and I'm happy with that.
So do you wanna continue?
Well, he's gotta, because we can't vote on it anyways, because there's no
Yeah.
DEP number.
Yeah.
So you wanna come back with a revised plan?
You can do that to show the plantings, we'll propose it.
Well, no, eliminate the
No.
paving.
He's saying he wants to not go that route.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go that route. It's-
Eliminate the paving between the 35 and 50.
Correct.
Just so when you guys come back, is there anything else? Anybody has questions? I don't wanna have them come back and then something else pops
Right.
up.
No, but if
So-
something pops up, I mean, we have your contact information, so we shoot a question over.
No, what I'm saying is I want.
Yeah,
if there's
no,
Anything else?
If they're gonna redesign the plan.
right.
Get everything
Yeah.
done.
I understand that.
I can't think of anything else.
No, I can't either.
So we're good with the building, we're good with, I mean, you're still gonna do the sand filter, just you're gonna
Yeah.
shift it up closer.
You put it at the 50-foot mark.
That's fine.
Alright? Nobody? Nothing from the audience? I'll
Can
bring it
you
back.
move the garage closer to the house, or are you meeting the setback?
There's a minimum, but, unless I go through zoning.
Yeah, you don't wanna do that either.
It's just that's one.
Oh, and there's a drainage
There's a certain kind of time where-
Yeah.
So we can't shift it up. So it's the easement.
Yeah,
It's a pretty wide, you know, it's just,
Yeah.
it's tough.
you get the drainage there.
We built the road, just put more driveway over.
Right, yeah.
You know, took 15 feet from the front and improved the road, so. So it's like a tough one.
All right, so I guess, you wanna continue with
You wanna make a motion?
make a motion to continue.
Hey, Tony, have you scheduled the one for Block Street yet?
No,
75 Block Street?
it's gonna be on the 12th.
Have we reviewed the checklist for it?
Not yet.
Yeah, we have another application we submitted for another site. I wonder if we could take these two up the same night?
Right, that's what we'll
Okay.
schedule, get us the plan, revised plan, as quick as you can, just shave that off and move your sand filtration up there,
Okay.
and that'll,
Yeah, it's-
So I will continue to the next meeting, and then if you're not ready with this one or the other one, then we'll just continue it again at the next meeting.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
You wanna finish making your motion?
yeah, motion to continue to the 12th, right, March 12th.
Yep, 106
March
Washington Street.
Have a
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye? Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Next up, update and complaint from DEP for the property located at 267 Pleasant Street. So since our last meeting,
Do you wanna tell him,
huh?
do you know about
I do
this,
not,
the
no.
history? Should we tell him the history of the site?
Not
Or
really, not
no?
really, but, so last year we were going over, INRAD for a property abutting this one. And DEP had some concerns that possibly an acre of wetlands had been, destroyed on this property. So we've been trying since, I don't know what, October to get onto the property. Sent certified mail to the 267 address, it bounced back. Then, over the last 2 weeks, the building department, Jason Harris, does, I don't know if it's monthly, visits to the site with, I think, the fire department. And he was gonna see if he could get us on with them. But I said before we do that, reach out to legal, make sure we don't wanna get them in trouble or get us in trouble. Legal said that we couldn't go on with them, but he was able to get us 2 other addresses for the owners of the property. And Tony sent out, regular letter and certified mail. So we're just waiting to hear, see if we get anything back before we go back to town council.
So, I saw Jason, doing an inspection for me somewhere else.
Yep.
And he brought this up the other day. The son is now taking it over, and Jason met with him, and he seems willing to do whatever we want. So hopefully that's good news, but, you know, I dealt with the son before when the father owned it, and nothing got done 2 or 3 years ago.
No,
So-
and I think what he told Jason too, from talking to Jason, is that he's told that he's been in contact with DEP, and like Lynn brought up from doing the timeline of the events is, I believe him, but he's dealing with someone from a different division of DEP, solids and solid waste, not the wetland division.
Right.
So that one is still ongoing. Hopefully we get on there sooner rather than later, especially now that it's getting into our season where you can actually do delineations and whatnot.
So what address do you have for him?
There was one in Bridgewater and then another one.
Rockland, I think, right?
Where?
Bridgewater and Rockland. 2 different addresses.
Because he was in Taunton at one point.
We don't remember that one.
After these attempts where mailings have gone out, what would be the next step after this if we get no response?
Probably going to town council and seeing if they can get us a warrant for the property.
Right, so a court order to get onto the property shouldn't, once town council, if we have to go that route. The time frame for a turnaround for a court is usually 5 to 7 days, from what I understand.
No idea.
Yeah, I don't
have
know.
no idea. Never done one.
Okay.
But the court's well aware of this property,
Yes.
so.
Yes, it's got a notorious history.
So how long do we give them to respond? Let's say 2 weeks goes by and we don't hear anything. Or a month,
No, 2 weeks would be the,
2 weeks.
The meeting, but I mean, we shouldn't be waiting if it goes out certified mail. Usually a certified mail is,
Well, it
Did
could
it, man?
take time too, because I've sent certified mail, like when I send out order of conditions to
Yeah.
get to Nicole Hayes. It took me 3 different mailings to mail something to her.
wow.
So it takes time. I know it shouldn't, but it took time. It kicked back to me twice, and then
Really?
it took like a month full travel to get back to me on the first one.
Is it because of the information that she gave you for the address was incorrect?
No, we don't know what it was,
Okay.
but we ended up switching both times, and she got it to one
Okay.
address and then got another one to a different address.
All right.
So are we going to give them, let's say 2 weeks goes by and we don't hear anything. Are we then gonna send it again to the same addresses?
Why
Give
can't
them a
we have it
second.
served with a constable?
I was gonna say that's so.
Because they don't have to go to the post office and pick
Yeah.
up the
I
mail.
spoke to building, and building recommended that we either have a constable serve them if that's the case after,
Okay.
after,
and then
before we go to
before
town
this,
council.
yeah, before we go to town council, have a constable serve,
Okay.
and then if a constable doesn't, we don't pay for it or something like that happens, then go to legal and try to get an order.
Okay.
And it's only like $35 out of our budget for a constable to serve.
Wait
And
2
it's-
weeks, and then if we don't hear anything in 2 weeks, then we'll have the constable serve it.
Okay.
And he's there most every day in that trailer,
Oh, okay.
Yep.
But he, you mean
the son,
The son who's taken over.
So,
who told Jason he had taken it over.
so we
Okay.
should serve it to 267 North Quincy Street instead of the other 2 addresses then?
I would.
We'll start there and then
Worst
have
comes
to-
to worst.
we have the other 2
Yeah,
addresses.
I mean,
to fall
because this
back on.
is, like you said, been going on since October. We've been trying to reach out, and we're getting into our busy season, and we're going to be able to go out there and walk around and see. Things will be trying to grow,
hopefully
hopefully. I don't know.
on some sites, hopefully.
Yes.
All right, next up, so I put these on here, Alex and Josh's, because you're relatively new and you're brand new to the board. So these are just ongoing issues we've had over the past 6 months, maybe a little bit longer than that. So 95 Nile Street, last year, they came in for a emergency tree removal. And one of the conditions was cut the tree down, because it was right on the edge of the riverbank. So we said leave the tree stump. I think it was on a Saturday or Sunday, they took out the tree stump. So
And
then.
they didn't come before us, they were supposed to come before us
Yeah, well, they were supposed to come before us for either an RDA or a NOI.
Right.
But anyways, they had Ken Thompson go out to see how they were going to fix it, and he recommended we issue them an enforcement order to plant some bushes along the bank just to make sure it's stabilized and put some erosion control up and everything. So we kind of held off on looking at that again until the spring. So now that spring is 4 weeks away. We should probably schedule probably the end of the month, end of March,
Yeah. A
just
sidewalk.
to keep current
or,
with what our regulations are for looking
yeah,
at
because
wetlands.
April 1st is when we say is when we'll allow vernal pool stuff. The growing season really starts on June 15th, so.
Yeah, we don't want to wait that long.
I do. So when we got the report from Ken Thompson, he had like an aerial view, but didn't have actual pictures. So I asked him, "Can you provide us with pictures?" And I think he was having trouble getting on the site. So I'm gonna ask him. I think ask him the beginning of April. Can you get on the site? Can you take pictures for us? And then we'd like to get a report But I guess that will depend on when he actually sees things growing.
I mean, like I said, we can get on the site. There's an open, active enforcement order, so.
Mm-hmm.
They might be asking for pictures now. It's not really worth it because, stuff's dormant still.
No. I didn't mean now. I meant more April.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or wait until early May to just, get on the site and see how it's going. If it's working. But we should definitely take a walk and take a look and see once we start getting things growing, if they survived the winter.
Yep. Then the next one is Hanson Tree. So that was another one there. They've encroached into the wetlands, it looks like. Gene and I did a site walk back in, was that August? I think?
Yeah. August.
They finally got the delineation done. It was a week after our cutoff, but the weather was still good, so we allowed them to do it. But if you go over there, they have the flags right up against basically where they disturbed. So, yeah,
I'm sorry. I don't mean to
So in
laugh.
other words, you're saying they disturbed here, and so they just put
Flag
flags
there.
all around where they actually.
that's what it looks like. Without going on the property to confirm it, but that's what it looks like.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So I sent an email. They're using Hancock Associates. I think they're out of Marlboro. I sent an email just to get an update when they plan to come before us. I told them sometime in the early spring.
Hancock Associates did the delineation.
Yes. And they're going to do the restoration plan. And next is Dependable Tree. I'll turn that over to you, Lynn, because you were dealing with that. You and
And Gene.
Gene
And
and
Alex.
Alex, yep.
Yeah. So this is actually across the street from.
Behind
this
my
one
house.
started
Tree.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Behind Alex's house.
Right. Yeah. Right near there.
Yeah,
So
we hear the trucks at 5 in the morning.
Do you? Wow.
So we got a report of wetlands disturbance there, and I visited the site with Alex, visited with you, and they
Expanded their parking area into where there was a stream,
there's
right up to the stream, and it's
we
like
visited in May, and then we went back a month or 2 months later, or 3 months later.
3 months later.
And they had actually expanded the parking
Yeah.
to be
Right up
closer
to the stream.
river.
I was like,
And so they got a wetland scientist to do delineation around the same time as Hanson Tree's delineation was performed. He emailed me a couple of days ago and said they were having an actual survey done. It hadn't been completed yet, and wanted to know if he should be coming in for a meeting. At this point, I said, well, let's just wait until the survey is done,
Right.
and then, finish up the delineation. And I told him we'll be talking about it tonight, but I didn't think it would be worth it for him to come in, since we're just really giving updates and letting you guys know the history of it. So,
It didn't happen when Frank Makowitz owned the land.
yeah. Well, the wetland scientist, I guess, knew him, and
he did.
he said that when they were actually building 139, he was a kid and he knew all about that stream
Yeah.
that's running there. So he says he knows the property.
And he says
pretty
it
well.
runs under 139 and goes
It
over
does.
across the street,
Right.
over to the other side. Because where Hanson Tree is, that house there used to be the Beans house. And I went to school with the Beans way back in the 60s. So I'm like, I know that property pretty well too. So it's like, it's interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, that's it.
So that was the
And
last update.
hopefully that's it.
Hopefully.
So building permits and site visits, I signed a permit for 657 Bedford Street. There were no wetland issues there. I also did a site visit at 272 Spruce Street a week and a half ago. There was a neighbor complaint saying they were doing some work in the buffer zone. Property owner, he cut down a couple dead branches. He showed them to me. And that was
Vista
that.
pruning, or they were just dead?
Just dead branches.
Okay,
A couple trees that look like they're.
questionable.
I told him, I said, if you're gonna cut them down, I said, I told him what he had to do.
Yep.
Just come, send us something in writing, and we'll more than likely give you the authorization to do it and leave the stumps in place. I know tomorrow, is it you and Alex and Lynn are going out to do a site
Maya's
erosion
out,
control?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be doing a site visit at the dog park. We got a complaint from DEP about,
Replication.
no.
Oh,
Am
no.
I gonna be in for another surprise over there?
The
Oh,
replication was never done properly there.
Yeah.
I actually had a shouting match with Rick LaFawn at the park because he accepted it and it wasn't done. So, I don't know what's going on with that.
I'll take a look at that when I go out there too. I mean, same thing, it's not gonna,
so what was the complaint at the dog park regarding?
animal feces in the wetlands.
Oh, boy.
What, are they throwing it over the fence or something?
Oh,
I don't know how else the dog's getting back there.
So you're letting the dogs run
oh, boy.
around the fence?
You were on the board of selectmen when that came through, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if there was anything in the order of conditions, items in
Yeah, I
perpetuity.
don't remember seeing it. So.
I think if anything, all we can ask for is to have them put, if there's not signage already up, just have them put a sign,
Definitely some conservation signs.
No, I'm just saying like
Oh,
a sign
no
that
dumping?
basically, no dumping.
Yeah.
I believe there's containers there to put it in.
Wow.
I would imagine.
That's pretty sad.
And I haven't heard, so when was that replication done?
It wasn't, he said.
Well, it
Wasn't
was what they called done, but it wasn't. I think Scott was looking into that a little
How
while.
much
Yeah,
did
no,
they
we-
disturb, actually?
I don't remember.
Okay.
When Tim was on the board, we talked about it a little bit last year.
Yeah, Tim was very aware of it, yeah.
Yeah. That was actually I forgot about it at the last meeting as one of my goals was to dive into that. 'Cause I think Scott was going to talk to John Stone to see if they could re-replicate it.
Yeah.
So now's probably the time to look into that, where we're getting to
Because the
growing
town
season.
paid the contractor, and then we went out for the final walkthrough. Tim was there with me, and some of the selectmen, because it was Ken Coyle and I that, with a couple of volunteers, got the dog park going.
Yeah.
So we were out there, and I said to Rick LaFawn at the time, I said, this replication isn't done right. And we had an argument over it. And, they had already paid the contract.
Well, that's inappropriate.
And nobody
Monitored the restoration.
monitored it. Okay.
And I'm sure the paperwork will say who the responsible party was for the replication.
Dan Dell.
Dan Del,
yes,
Delprat.
yes.
Are they in Hanson? They're in Hanson, 27?
Rockland,
Oh, I thought they were on.
Oh, maybe Hanson, yeah.
Huh.
When was that? That was done in what, 2000 and...
17 maybe? So we started the process in 2015 when I first got on the board. But it was a couple of years before we actually got the money and built it.
I know I've been on since 2020. I never saw a COC for that one, so
Is there? I wonder if there
well,
ever
it's
was.
probably still open.
Okay. Oh, which reminds me, I do have those letters ready. I just haven't sent them to you yet,
Okay.
so I'm sorry. It's kind of like a form letter we're doing up that I put together. I think we talked about it the last time on the outstanding, yeah, COCs and OOCs and, yeah, that they need to close them out before they sell their property or else.
Right.
Alex, do you have time on Thursday to go out there, like Thursday afternoon? Go out to the dog park?
I believe so. Yeah, what time?
4 o'clock, good?
Sure. Can you, get the file for us before then?
And then, we received another complaint today.
Oh.
For a property on Mill Street. I guess somebody's digging a trench that's going towards, what the neighbor said is, intermittent stream.
Mm-hmm.
We're on Mill Street.
Like right on the,
It's like a corner lot.
it's the property behind the one at 16 where they have to plant those shrubs.
Oh,
So
really?
it's right, if you're coming off of Linwood Street, taking the right towards Brockton, there's
Up
those
court.
two houses back to back.
Yes.
It's the house closer to the Brockton side.
135.
That sounds right.
That's an intermittent stream?
Well, there's a wetland right in between the two. It's that same wetland that we talked with 16 Linwood Street about.
I gotcha.
I think it's 135. Alex, are you gonna pick up the file?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just let me know when it's ready.
I can come by whenever to
Alright.
get it, and I'll pull it.
I'll be by sometime tomorrow. Because I want to talk to Scott about it anyway.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
135. So does somebody want to, or the two of you want to go out there and take a look at that? Josh, you want to do your first site walk?
Sure.
Who else wants to go? Anybody else?
I can go. You want to go too?
Sure. When?
Tony can reach out to the, get a contact.
Yep.
and-
Just let me know the time and the date. Tom has some appointments coming up.
I mean, you can probably drive by and just
View
see what it
from the
looks like.
street.
Yeah, without even getting out of your car.
Okay. I'll see if I can get on Mass Mapper and just see if I can print off a thing. I love to bring them with me.
And then we have another potential issue, 185 Walnut Street.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
Gene, you're the one that,
Yeah, I was out there a year ago.
He's ready for a site visit. He just wants to schedule one. That's all. He
Okay.
called.
What's going on there?
That's a complaint.
There was a complaint a year ago. A year
Yeah.
ago? Might be a little more than a year.
It resurfaced. I
he
don't
was
know.
starting to, he wanted to build a driveway, he was starting to build a driveway or something. He brought a bunch of Connex boxes out back in the property and he's within the, that's 200-foot riverfront over there.
Yeah, because the Shooter-Watuska runs alongside his property, and that goes right over to Meyer Street well. So, it's a real critical area. And when I pulled up, I pulled in the street, and I just walked along the street, and there was reprocessed asphalt brought in, and there were some workers there. So I went up and
I remember.
chatted with them and told them who I was, and they told them that we had received a complaint. So they invited me into the property, and I pretty much expressed to them, they're from the North Shore, they bought this property, he wants to move his business down there, and that he was gonna be parking his equipment and stuff. And I said, well, there's a 200-foot riverfront protection there, because there's a river right there. And so I said, before you do anything, I would suggest that you talk to building, zoning, and touch base with conservation before you do anything further. So, and that's how I left it with
So
them.
whereabouts 185?
It's you come off of Summer Street off 18,
Yeah.
take the right, and it's two or three houses right down there. He's got a stone wall right in front,
Okay.
and then there's a little patch of woods where the river is, and then there's a little bit of woods, and then the next houses start. Yeah. And I think when I went by there just recently, he had a bunch of trucks and stuff parked on
I
the
saw
reef.
some pallets and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
there
out
was
front.
some work stuff piled up on the reprocess, but it's right up near the stone wall. And like I said, on the other side of the stone wall is the river. So, yeah. And that's where, the little stream from my street connects up over there, and it connects with the, I forget the other river that it connects up with, and they all meet up and they head to the Chute-Wetaskiwin, and they go in right into there.
Is it French Stream?
No, French's Stream is in North Abington. No, I'm trying to think.
So what we'll do is I'll reach out to and see what the best time for a meeting is, and Tony can set something up with all of us.
Okay.
That's all I had for site visits and building permits. Meeting minutes. There's one for January 23rd, 2024. All of us were present for it except for Josh, because he wasn't on board yet.
Trying to find it.
Oh, wait a minute, I do. Stop. I got it. It was a sad meeting.
Anybody have any comments? Not? Somebody can make a motion?
I just have a type it.
Somebody want to make a motion?
Motion to approve.
Give it a second?
The January 23rd?
Yep.
Okay, I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Correspondence? We have stuff from planning board.
Oh.
We'll look at that. Okay. Will come, have they submitted anything to us yet? Okay. Here's another one.
What's this?
That's what we approved the ANRAD
Oh.
2 years ago.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
So I guess if you got any
This
questions.
is a
that can-
subdivision plan?
Yeah, so I don't know if you wanna look at the drainage and get some
Yeah.
questions back to planning before the meeting. I think it's
Okay.
on the 4th.
Yeah. I remember going out to this site.
Where's that?
This is 4454 Linwood Street. As you come off of Groveland, you take the left onto Linwood, heading towards Court Street. And it's before
Right
that
before you
weird
get out- right before
yeah,
you
right
get out
before
the hill.
that weird intersection. It's probably like two houses up, and there's a retreat lot that goes all
Oh,
in the
yeah,
back
yeah,
along Hunts
yeah,
Pond.
yeah.
But at the time when I was out there, he said he was building his family home out there, and now it's a subdivision. Wow. And there's a sewer easement. I remember walking all
Right,
along here.
yeah,
And it's very
yeah.
That's all
hilly.
we got.
It's crazy hilly.
Is
Oh,
that USA landscape guy? Is that the lot?
Did you talk about
I don't know, is it? I don't know. You would know more than I would, I don't know. I'm just looking at, but the elevations here were crazy. I mean, it was, Kyle Garvey took,
There's a path or something.
there was a path that you go out there. There's a house here that owns some property, and then there was that, like, a road that was cut in there.
Yeah.
But then it twists, and then there's the sewer easement, and then you had to hike through the hills and valleys to get up, and it was pretty high up, and it looks out onto Hunts Pond, and then it's boom.
Yeah.
yeah, it's probably worth looking at that for any drainage issues. That way
Yeah.
we can get them to planning since they handle the stormwater.
Definitely, because
How many houses is he proposing?
4.
I think that's what it was sold as,
Really?
that it could do 4 houses.
Really?
All right, anybody have anything else?
Nope.
If not, somebody wanna make a motion to adjourn? Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.